First off, Jarrad, congratulations, 100 caps. What does that mean to you?
I don't know. It's just really exciting, I suppose. It's something that I didn't really coming over here. I didn't expect to end up being here for so long. I came over here as like a bit of an opportunity more than anything, and to be here, 5 years later into my sixth season now, I think, and be playing the 100th game is pretty special, and just excited.
Is it something you thought would happen when you first moved over here in 2017?
No way. I thought I'd been at Brumbies for a long time, and then to reflect on it, and I've been here now longer than I've been there over in Australia. It's kind of wild to think, but I think that's a credit to the place as well. Time really flew by. It doesn't feel like I've been here for that long.
Talk to me about how the move first came about then. Is it something you had to think about a lot? Did you have to do research into Connacht? What was that kind of process like?
I didn't do any research or anything. The opportunity came up, I suppose, that there was something going on over here. There was a position available, and the idea of coming over to the Northern Hemisphere and trying to play rugby was something that it was on the bucket list, I suppose. When I wasn't really sure, but when the opportunity came, I really jumped at it, and it was a real. I know there was lots of guys working here in the background to kind of get things moving over, but for me, when I was in Australia, I remember thinking, I was getting told it wasn't going to happen and things weren't going to be working out. And I remember someone told me that Pete Wilkins was the coach here now, and he was the video analysis when I was at the Reds in even like 2013 or something like that, maybe even earlier than that. So I gave Pete a call, and he was telling me, and like he really helped to get it over the line, I suppose. So like it was the last couple of days, and he really pushed it forward for me. So I was thankful that kind of worked out, and Pete happened to be here as well, and it worked out for the best, I think.
Brilliant. So I actually didn't realise that. So that's something that obviously you came over knowing at least that you knew at least one coach anyway, and that kind of helped you settle in.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a stroke of luck. Like I was speaking to one guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'm pretty sure Pete Wilkins is the defence coach there now." So, and then I rang him, and he told me it was a beautiful sunny day, and what he loved about the place. And I quickly learned he was lying, but it was definitely worthwhile, I think.
Yeah. So what were those first few weeks like in Galway then? We obviously have a lot of players, especially from moving from Australia, to experience a completely different culture, way of life here in the west of Ireland. What were those first few weeks like for you?
It was interesting. Like it was different. I think I kind of came when the weather wasn't too bad. You come in the pre-season and you're just kind of coming out the back end of summer, so you're still getting some nice days. But I think one of the first weeks I was here, we went in and climbed Croagh Patrick and with all the lads, and that was a real that was a rough day. It was raining, it was windy. Like we got to the top, and for all your work, you couldn't even see anything when you got there. It was just clouds and things like that. And one of the lads, Conan, he put a rock in my backpack, and I didn't know, so I carried a rock up there as well. I'm kind of like Damien Brown, really.
Very good. Yeah. So then your debut then, what do you remember of it?
Jeez, I don't remember.
Do you remember like the first opportunity you got to play here at the sports grounds and what that was like in terms of the fans here?
Playing memories, like I've got a lot of like ones that are special. I don't know. I remember like how far down. Like I remember playing Ulster. I think it was my first year at home. It was around Christmas. It was like the Boxing Day game or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was one of the few games where like my mum, brother, and sister were at that game. And I remember we were winning pretty well. And like towards the back end, we were packing for a scrum, and everyone in the clan stand were singing like Christmas carols, and it was awesome. It was just a cool vibe, and the family loved it, and I loved it. I was like, Jesus, this is pretty crazy, because again, like it was a cold night, but the clan was packed. They were singing. Like that was a pretty special game for me as far as memories are concerned.
Yeah. Like
another one was Mull's last game. Like that was crazy. The emotion and everything that was involved in that one, and the build up to it as well. But like again, to be able to play that one and see like how much the fans and the players really connected, like on that day in particular, with Brownie and Mull and JP, some really big characters in the team kind of playing their last game. So that was another one for me that really stands out. But as far as first, like I don't really remember the first one, but I remember some good ones.
Yeah. So you you had your first season, and then pre-season of season 2, you're appointed captain by your peers, by the players. So what was your reaction when you found out that was going to happen, and how much of an honour was that for you?
Yeah, it was a huge honour, like especially to have it kind of being selected from the peers, and you know, we had that discussion, and to be able to get that role was pretty awesome, especially when I looked around the dressing room and some of the players that we had in that room. Like there was so many like leaders in that group already, and you know, I said it even back then, but you know, I was the captain, but I relied like heavily on the leadership group. I think it was 8 or maybe even 10 guys in that leadership group, and all of them were really important in regards to getting everything moving in the right direction. So, you know, without those guys, like your Jack Cardis and Quinn Rue was in there, and Owen Marston, a whole bunch of those guys, it would have been a pretty rough job, I imagine. But I was able to kind of like spread the load, and we all went in the right direction together. So, but yeah, it was a huge honour, and yeah, to be able to lead the team for a few years there was pretty special.
Yeah, and obviously that first season, with Andy's first season, getting to the Pro 14 playoffs that year as well. Obviously, remember the Cardiff win here to get to those playoffs in the Champions Cup. Like, so you must look back on that first season particularly fondly.
Yeah, it was a really nice way to settle in. You know, it was a good year. Like, you know, even that first year beforehand, was able to play. Just luckily stay injury free and just be out on the field. You know, as a player, that's the main thing. You just want to be able to be on the field and contribute as best you can. And I've been pretty fortunate where I haven't had too many kind of long-term injuries, touch wood there, and I think that makes a big difference as well.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously we had the COVID years, and there's been a lot of change in the squad in your 5 years here. So it must be really exciting for you, I hope you don't mind me saying, as one of the more experienced players in the squad, to see a lot of the young talents that's come through this group now.
You can say it. All the moment. No, yeah, it's crazy. Like, yeah, it's funny because as you're kind of coming up with the group, you see the young guys, and they kind of coming up with them as they're getting older. So it doesn't really feel like there's that big age gap. But I think, like, especially this year anyway, now we've had this fresh bunch of guys come through the academy, all really good players, and you hear they're really like 10 years younger than you, like more than 10 years.
Yeah.
You're like, Jesus, that is insane. Like, they were born, I literally was starting to play rugby, you know. But it's awesome. It's awesome. It's cool to see guys coming through, and they bring like energy to the group, and they bring energy on the field, and they bring a different perspective to the way they want to play as well. They bring a different perspective on the way they want to see things working off the pitch as well. It's been a learning, but it's been a real fun one as well. And it kind of like keeps you fresh as well, because you've got those guys coming in and they kind of keep you on your toes. It's been awesome. And
particularly in the back row this year, we've obviously with Josh and Seamus coming in, and then what Keane Prendergast has done in the last year or two. So there's fierce competition for places there, isn't it?
Yeah, no. No, you're 100% right. And I think we've been pretty fortunate here at Connacht. Like most years, we've had a number of really good back rows, and it's kept everybody kind of ticking away. You know what I mean? Like, so this group in particular that we've got now, back rows. You know, I think there's 9 or 10 of us there, and any single one of them, like, you'd be very comfortable to have on the pitch, or to be on the side of the scrum with you or something like that. So yeah, again, like you said, that's one of those things as well. Like, when you are feeling old, you kind of just have to keep on playing on, because you've got like a 25-year-old behind you that's still feeling fresh. So no, that's been great.
Yeah. Been great. And in terms of this season, obviously ups and downs for these first few games, but when you look back, if it's the summer of 2023 and you look back on this season, what would you like to achieve?
Yeah, I just would really like to see us get to the point where we're happy with how we've been playing, and playing consistently, and just going out there and having some fun with it, because I think we all know, and we do it through the week, like, that we've got all like the tools there to be a very good rugby team, and to compete with the best teams on the competition. But it's one of those things where, you know, you have to be able to do it on the pitch as well. And I feel like we're kind of so close to that point where we were going to start to be able to turn out those performances, and it's exciting. But, you know, you want it to be sooner rather than later. So if I could get to the end of 23 and be like, geez, we really hit our straps there, and we got to a point there where we were being really competitive, and whatever happens to the back end of that would be great. But that would be a nice way of reflecting on the year, that's for sure.
Definitely. And final one for me then, in terms of what message would you have for the Connacht supporters? Obviously, it's not going to be a home game where you'll have your 100th cap. So, what would you like to say to those supporters?
If you didn't come to the Ospreys game, shame on you. I'd say to the supporters, thank you guys so much for the last few years. The support that you've given myself and the team, it really is second to none. We say it all the time, but it's because it's very much true. The fact that you guys are always out there in the sports ground, regardless of the weather, regardless of the wind, regardless of the opposition, it really is special, and it makes a world of a difference. So thank you guys for all your support, and I'll see you again soon.